To the north of the Mande country lies the land of the Senufo, one of the ethnic groups of Africa that has best preserved its own culture. Agriculture is their main activity, though they also have cattle, above all goats and cows. Rice forms an important part of their diet. In these mortars, they separate the grain from the husk. It will then be stored in the granaries along with the millet and the maize. Senufo villages tend to be large compared to those of other groups in the Ivory Coast. They are made up of groupings of different clans and lineages which form what we would call districts. In each one of them there is a fetish house where they keep their masks and religious carvings. The decoration of the facade shows certain precepts and deities of the Poro, the fundamental law of the Senufo. Each fetish house is governed by a guardian who is normally an important dignitary of the clan's secret society. Women are very important in Senufo society. Their power is comparable to that of the men, though less evident. The system of transmission of culture and tradition is matrilineal, which makes the women the head of the lineage. Even in the Poro, women occupy an extremely important place. For example, they play a vital part in the founding of new Sinzanga or Poro schools, the head of which will be chosen by matrilineal line. In everyday life, the women are in charge of the domestic chores and looking after the children, to whom they dedicate very special attention and affection. The tribal law dictates the state of affairs, above all up to the time they reach puberty. Dogs are also very important for the Senufo, especially hunting dogs like these, on which they place a liana collar to protect them from possible attacks by vermin in the forest. On important occasions, as a substitute for the human sacrifices of the past, dogs' throats are cut and they are offered to the Poro deities in the fetish houses. Every year, they must add a new layer of straw to these houses. The fetishes must be well protected. This is the main square of the village, where we will find the house of the judges and the house of death, where dead bodies are taken for funeral rites to be performed. Between the fetish house and the house of judges stand the stones of truth. Here, prisoners sit in order to be publicly interrogated and sentenced. The Senufo also have one of the richest craft traditions in Africa. On their looms, they continue to weave cloth as they have always done. The technique of these artisans has remained entirely unchanged. Every day, they weave long strips of cloth which will later be joined together to make cotton canopies for a number of different uses. The swift hands of the men move with the skill that can only be acquired over time, placing the threads of different colors which make up each intricate design. From father to son to grandson, the art of weaving has been handed down since time immemorial. Senufo painting is also among the most widely recognized in Africa. Picasso came here seeking inspiration for Cubism from these artists who express the visions of the hunters or the deities of the Poro. They use vegetable paints made using techniques whose origins are lost in the depths of time. There are three main colors: red, ochre, and black, which only stains the canvas if it is applied over the ochre. It is spread without ever tarnishing the white, as if by magic. It could be no other way here in Africa. They make no preliminary sketches, but trace the designs directly with rudimentary iron implements. Freehand, they draw all types of designs with delicate strokes on their rough cotton cloth, and never making even the slightest mistake. These canopies are a synthesis of Senufo cosmogony. They depict the deities and scenes from the Poro, like this one showing the boloi, the dance of the panther. The boloi is a symbolic representation of the Poro, showing the military training of its members. The movements are inspired by those of the panther, the sacred animal of the Senufo. Initiation into the Poro is obligatory and lasts for 7 years. During this time, the wisest transmit the knowledge of the society to the young men through words and symbols. All those who complete their initiation at the same time are said to belong to the same kolobele, and this will be a bond which unites them for the rest of their lives. In the public dances, each dancer represents a different kolobele and challenges the others by performing steps and acrobatic movements demonstrating his training and skill. They believe in a single god called Kolo Tiolu, which gave life to the first human couple. This couple had twins which were the first human beings born of man, and the Senufo are descended from these. Between God and men, they are the spirits of the ancestors and those of deities such as the python, the messenger from the other world. The Poro was created in order to defend themselves from enemies and outside influences. Little by little, it gained strength and became one of the most complex life philosophies in Black Africa. In modern times, the Poro has proven able to resist both Islam and Christianity, and has preserved the Senufo culture almost intact. Its social content creates a bond and feeling of brotherhood among its members. From the time they begin their initiation, the young men perform agricultural work for the Poro in the so-called fields of the nobles, distributed among the oldest members and intended to meet the needs of the community.